How to build a new employee onboarding process. You don't need any fancy software. You need to know the 5 things that businesses usually skip over. I'm going to give you the exact method that we use to help companies that are scaling from 10 to 100 employees. You might be starting your onboarding in the wrong place. This is what you need to do instead. At the end of this video, you will have a step-by-step framework on how to onboard a new employee that works perfectly every single time for every role. Here are the 5 steps that we use in order to onboard an employee. Step number 1, define your plan. In order to be successful, you need to know what your goals are, where you're going, and why you're doing what you're doing. So when you're defining your plan on how to onboard a new employee, you need to outline exactly what you want to accomplish, what you want them to know, and by when. Step number 2 is to create a timeline and milestones. Create a timeline for the first 30, 60, and 90 days. In my video, How long does it take to actually onboard an employee? I go over the time that it requires in order to onboard an employee correctly. And most businesses don't get it right. They skimp over, they do it too fast. There is a methodology and there is a specific time frame that it takes to correctly onboard an employee. So if you haven't watched that video, make sure to subscribe below and watch that video on how long it actually takes to onboard an employee. But that is step number 2, is to create that timeline and the milestones. By the way, I also have a video that talks about how to create those milestones. But those milestones are the core competencies and the outputs that you want a new employee to achieve at those specific time intervals. Step number 3, accountability and roles and responsibilities. You will need to assign who trains, when, on what, and who checks in the employee. Without doing that, it will be chaos. The employee won't know who to go to in order to get checked on what they're doing. There is no accountability, and you won't know if the process is being executed or not and by whom. So when you specifically assign, whether it's their direct supervisor, a trainer, yourself, anyone, a peer in the organization can be somebody that can train and check out, whether they're shadowing somebody or they're being checked out. There is a role play that needs to happen. Let's say you are hiring a new salesperson. Perhaps you are hiring a new salesperson and you need to do a lot of role playing. Who's going to do the role playing with them? So that is very important. Step 4, leverage your SOPs, checklists, documentation, and so on. Having well-documented processes and procedures is so important and is so useful when onboarding new employees and training them. Look at it as your textbook. You can't really teach a student without having a textbook. It doesn't have to be written. It can be also videos that they can watch. So videos, audios, screenshots, documented procedures, all of that has to be in place. Flowcharts as well, so they can understand the flow of the process. For instance, the flowchart of a customer journey. If you want to explain to a new employee what your customers experience and how they get from the beginning of the process to the end, showing them a flowchart and explaining to them is very valuable. But if you don't have that and you don't have that in place before you start onboarding can be chaotic and you're not going to get to the final result that you want. And the last step is include a new employee in the process. Gather feedback and see how you can improve. We use surveys to ask the new employee how the training was. Is there anything that they didn't get? Anything that can be improved? You can do it in written surveys. You can ask them. Make sure that you're in very good communication and have regular check-ins with the new employee to show that you care, but also to gather that feedback so you can always improve your onboarding process. So go ahead and try those 5 steps with your next onboarding and let me know, leave a comment below on how it went. Now remember, a good onboarding process and a great onboarding experience relies on having well-documented processes and procedures. In the next video, I am going to show you how to create, document, and optimize your processes so you can have those ready for your next employee. So make sure to subscribe below and click on the video so you can watch the next one. My name is Adi. I'm a process consultant and I'm here to help you systematize your business.